passionate, driven, enthusiastic, euphoric. This is who we are as entrepreneurs. But how we leverage these incredible attributes to dream and build businesses that scale and grow is what this podcast is all about. Hello, I'm attorneypreneur Josh Brown, and welcome to Franchise Euphoria. Why you will likely fail in franchising and how to stop it from happening. That is the subject of today's episode. Hello, everybody. Josh Brown back for another episode of Franchise Euphoria. Hope you are doing well. I just got back from an amazing golf trip with friends and some clients, and literally played 18 holes last Thursday, 45 holes on Friday, 45 holes on Saturday. And that, my friends, is a lot of golf. And it was absolutely awesome. So great to get out of the office, great to go on a little vacation and get back feeling refreshed. So let's jump right into today's topic, why you will likely fail in franchising and how to stop it from happening. So why would I pick that as the headline and as a topic? I'm meeting a lot of people, as you might imagine, being a franchise attorney and the kind of work that I'm doing. And I'm finding a lot of people who will come up to me and the first question out of their mouth is, hey, so what's the hot franchise? I mean, I can't tell you how much I hate that question. And I'm the most positive person you'll ever meet, but that is a terrible question and a terrible thing to be thinking about if you're looking to get into buying a franchise. You should never look at what's just the hottest thing out there. It's like asking a stockbroker, what's the hottest stock for me to buy into? Well, you might just be buying at the highest price at that point in time. So you got to be careful when you are considering a franchise option, and you've got to really pay attention to how you're going to operate the business or who you're going to partner with when you buy a franchise. I mean, I really want to talk about 4 ways today in which you can really give yourself a better chance at success in franchising. As you know, from listening to me, I am a huge proponent of franchise businesses, but I'm a huge proponent when it's done the right way. And I find that there are just so many people out there who are just so misinformed on what a franchise is and what it isn't. I mean, just the other day, I read another website that had this crazy statistic that 95% of franchises are successful. I mean, what a bunch of baloney. I mean, it's just not true. And so there's these perpetuated myths out there that really, lead people astray. And so they don't pay attention to those little voices in their head and in their hearts that tell them, maybe this is not the right one for me. I was recently talking to somebody about a franchise, and I've talked to this person several times over the last couple of years, and he and his brother-in-law are potentially looking at some franchise opportunities. And they keep mentioning a fast food restaurant. Now, when I look at this, I say the one individual who's talking to me is in property management, and the brother-in-law is a doctor. Okay. And so I'm saying to myself, why are you looking at fast food restaurants? Well, I think in large part they're looking at that because that's all they think about. Oh, these franchises are successful, so we'll just go purchase that. Whereas what I'm trying to help them out with is to say, let's look at your background. Let's look at your business background. Let's look at your background as a doctor. Maybe a franchise you should consider is something within the senior care services. I mean, obviously these are franchises that are exploding in the area. We know the baby boomers numbers and the retiring baby boomers and the aging of that population. And here you have somebody who's a doctor who's not obviously going to be giving up the day job. I mean, what a seemingly perfect fit. But those are the kinds of things that I try to get people to focus on. And so often I feel like people overlook. They simply overlook what they bring to the table. But even beyond that, I mean, if you want to stop yourself from wasting money in a franchise, I've come up with sort of 4 things that I want you to really get clear on. First of all, I think most people make the mistake and that they just really don't understand franchising. I mean, I can't tell you the number of conversation I've had with people when I just ask them, so tell me, what do you think about this franchise? What do you think it's going to be like to own a franchise? And the type of responses you get are just not connected with the reality of what it's like to run a business. So I think you obviously have to get crystal clear on what it's like to run the particular franchise that you're interested in. And the only way to do that is to talk to professionals who are familiar with franchising and familiar with the particular franchise you're looking at. And also talking to franchisees and current franchisees, people who have been there and done that. That is so important. Number 2, people make the mistake of chasing the money or chasing what they believe to be the money. I can't tell you the number of people who make decisions on buying a franchise based on the notion that they have never seen this type of franchise go out of business, or, hey, that business always seems to be doing well. Well, here's the reality. You don't know. I mean, you don't know if the franchise is really making money, or you're just assuming it's making money because it's been in the same location for a long time. You don't know if the location has changed hands. Maybe it's changed owners. Maybe they're just barely getting by and they're working their tail off and not really that profitable. So people come up with these stories in their own heads, and a lot of times it's because they're just chasing the money instead of really figuring out what they would be best at in terms of running a business, running a franchise. And so that's a big mistake. The third thing is people just pick bad locations. I mean, people either ignore what the franchisor is telling them about a location, or they just don't know how to pick a good geographic location for a brick and mortar franchise. And folks, that is so important. I mean, location. You've got to have it. I don't care what your brand name is. I don't care how long you've been in business. Location is going to be everything. It is a super hyper competitive world out there, and you have got to find the best location that you can find for your business in your geographic area. People simply don't take the time to do that, and they don't take the time ahead of time to really flush that out, because in most franchise agreements, believe it or not, you're going to pick the location after you sign the agreement. So think about that. You're signing on for, on average, a 10-year agreement. Obviously, there's agreements that are 5 years. There's agreements that are 15 and 20 years. And yet, in most instances, you haven't even picked a location, which is arguably in the top 2 to 3 most important things you can do for your franchise. So I always recommend that people take extra time at the outset before you sign the franchise agreement to have a pretty good idea of the location or the area in which you want to have your franchise. Obviously, the franchisor is going to have to approve it. And you really, if they're a good franchise, you want to really take stock and listen to what their metrics are, because in theory, they have operated successful locations in the past and currently doing so. And so you want to really take stock of what their metrics are for those locations. And the fourth and final thing that I find really leads to failure in franchising is being disorganized. I mean, we know that the best franchise owners are people who are generally great operators and great managers. And one of the key chief characteristics of being a great operator and manager is being organized. You've got to be organized in the day-to-day workings of the business. You've got to be organized in your communications with your staff, with your employees. You've got to be organized in how you conduct your business and how you work with customers so that you're staying on top of things. And if you are disorganized, then you better have a partner who's running the day-to-day operation of the business who is organized, who can handle those things. That is a huge issue in franchising, where you get people in who really aren't effective operators, aren't effective managers, because they're just totally disorganized. And they falsely believe that because they're buying a franchise and they're buying that quote system in a box, that they don't have to be as organized, because the system is going to be there for them. It's going to be laid out for them. And the reality is, the day-to-day workings of the business is not laid out for you. You still have to do that. You still have to take the systems that are provided and put them into best use. And if you are a disorganized person, if you're disorganized in your communication, if you're disorganized in your priorities, if you're disorganized in how you relay information and relate to clients or customers, that's going to reflect very, very poorly with your franchise and likely lead to you failing. So, hope this was a good quick episode for you, and really, for any of you out there thinking right now about pulling the trigger on a franchise, just ask yourself these questions. Do you really understand what you're about to buy? If money wasn't a factor, would you still buy this franchise? Do you love the location? Love the location. And are you an organized person to be running the franchise? If not, do you have somebody else in mind to do that? If you can't answer those questions in an honest way, and in a way that's going to really make you feel comfortable with your decision, then if I were you, I would just pause. I would pause and reflect and figure out what's missing, where the gaps are, and see if you can plug those in. Perhaps talk to other people about it, talk to other professionals, talk to other people in the franchise space who have experience, talk to other people who know you. I mean, do these sorts of things. The franchise opportunities are going to be there. I would just really hate for you to waste your money and put it into a system that ultimately is going to fail, perhaps not even because of the system, but perhaps because of you and your flaws in running the system. So just some things to think about. And really, if you have any questions, concerns, or thoughts, I would love to hear from you. You can reach me at josh@franchiseeuphoria.com. Of course, I have an ebook that I wrote a couple years ago that I'm in the process of actually editing and revamping. It's called What to Know Before You Buy a Franchise. You can pop onto my website at indyfranchiselaw.com and very easily access that. I think there's a lot of good and valuable information in that for you. And there will be a updated version coming out in the near future. So again, thank you for listening. Really appreciate it. And until the next time, happy franchising.
Thanks for being with us today on the Franchise Euphoria podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to go to iTunes and provide a review. Also, please remember that although Josh Brown is a licensed and practicing attorney, nothing contained in this podcast should be construed as legal advice, because it is not. The information contained in this podcast is general and educational in nature, and none of it should be relied upon as legal advice. That being said, if you have questions for Josh and would like to contact him, please email him at josh@franchiseeuphoria.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you tune in to our next weekly episode.